You?
Good morning, Jay Hood. How you doing?
We're doing great. Are you kidding me? 1-1, getting ready to take on the Indianapolis Colts. We're ready to go.
Yeah, it kind of what we thought at the beginning of the season. If you got out of the first two games and you were 1-on-1, what could you do in this third game in Indianapolis? They have a young, inexperienced quarterback, and the Bears have a young, inexperienced quarterback themselves. But what defensive team can go out there and play the most physical, destructive game of football against the opponent's offense?
Tommy, let's talk about the offensive line with Eberflus coming out yesterday and saying, I don't anticipate any changes if everyone's healthy. I just want continuity. Yet the offensive line, Nate Davis especially, when I watch the tape, and I don't have your trained eye, obviously, but boy, that second half, he looked disinterested and awful. What would you do?
Well, if everyone's healthy, and at the injury report yesterday, both of the offensive guards are on the injury report, and Tevin Jenkins didn't participate in practice. So I always felt that I would keep Matt Pryor in the rotation at offensive guard, and he gives you a much bigger body. He gives you a much bigger point of attack, strength point. If you had those 3rd and 1s or even on a 4th down that they went for. And I think it would increase the urgency of everybody to stay at the top of their game, get better, and give Chris Morgan more options on the offensive line. And I think even in the case of Coleman Shelton, I would have to kind of investigate where's my center, the Hinsdale kid?
Cameron.
Jack Kramer. Kramer.
Doug Kramer.
Yeah.
Doug Kramer
from Illinois.
Doug Kramer. So, Doug Kramer's been around a couple of years. He's invested time in the weight room. He's invested time in the cafeteria. He's a bigger body. He's got a nice step to him. So if I do need to increase the competition, maybe I do give a little bit of a rotation to see how these guys can kind of increase the performance of the offensive line.
Would you send a message? Because Kap and I have talked about it. Look, Nate Davis has been raked over the coals a lot. The offensive line has, but definitely Nate Davis. And you mentioned Pryor. We've been talking about it. I have no problem with Pryor being the starter and Nate Davis being a rotation guy coming in, because you have to send a message that the way that they played was not good enough. The whole offense in general, as far as trying to get multiple scores in the end zone.
Yeah. Jay Hood, one thing about the offensive line in the running game, when I'm talking about a play that I call in the interior of the offensive line, that's from the shoulder of the inside shoulder of the right tackle to the inside shoulder of the left tackle. Mm-hmm. And there's a high percentage of plays that there's the point of attack inside that area. What I'm going to ask my running backs not to do is not to pick and choose. I'm going to ask them to hit the hole called in the huddle. And then that puts your offensive line on a kind of an organized blocking scheme of how they're going to go from level 1 to level 2. And we're not asking for that running play to be a touchdown every time they call it. I'm asking my offensive line to give me a 2.5 or 3 yard impact zone inside that defense, have the running back lower its shoulder and try to get that to 4 to 5 yard carry. And then I'm get a better understanding if I have a deficiency on the offensive line, because sometimes, and there's a couple times in that game the other night, that the running back was choosing their own point of attack. And by the time the offensive guards were getting to the second level, the linebackers were running in an opposite unpredicted decision where the offensive lines thought they should be in setting up their block. So if I have to do anything that's going to tell me a lot about offensive line performance and running back decision, it's going to say, look, guys, when you were running an interior play, stay to the point of attack. Outside, it's up to the running back. You're going to have to see those outside zone plays, like where you think your biggest crease is being created, and then you run accordingly. But interior, I think you'll learn a lot more about your team if you ask them to stick to the point of attack.
So you would say that based on the offensive line's performance, it hurt more with the running game more than the passing, correct?
Well, I do, only because, your running game is very specific and it's immediate response, point of attack, get your running back a full head of steam and run accordingly. On the pass protection we are 8 stories above the field. And so when you're looking down and you're looking at the down and distance and you count the available blockers that the Bears have, and then you look at how many bodies are at or near the line of scrimmage. So you take the guys that are at the line of scrimmage, you count them out. Okay, there's one for everybody, and including the running back. And then you look at that 6th or 7th guy and you say, okay, he is about 2.5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he can come as much, or he will come as much as any of those down linemen. And so that's where the deficiency, to me, that I think put Caleb in a bad position, is putting a lot of responsibility on his head to understand the vulnerabilities of the protection and making sure you know exactly where the hot read is going to be, and then pull off everything accordingly with the dysfunctional snap count because of the crowd noise. I just think you put these guys in the most difficult position possible.
29 years, the voice of the Bears, the great Tom Thayer, a Super Bowl champion. I want to read you something. Caleb Williams in a clean pocket versus Houston. Hoodie and I discussed this earlier. 76% completion rate, 141 passing yards, 0 interceptions. But when you look at him under pressure, 33% completion percentage, 33 yards, 2 picks. So do we have to be careful that I believe you got to stay wedded to the downhill running game, smash people in the mouth, and then let him play action off that or take a shot if they bring too many up in the box, and quit trying to run with silent count, trying to get these stretch plays with DeAndre Swift. Let's run between the tackles, behind the guards. Let's try and smash somebody in the mouth. When you hear those numbers, concerning to you or not a surprise?
They are concerning to me because you're talking about going to play a team on an indoor stadium, and I don't know how supportive the Indianapolis crowd is going to be, or there's going to be a nice travel of Bears fans to go to Indianapolis. But because it is a copycat league and all these defensive coordinators look at the amount of tape they have available to them right now, they're going to look at what created the most troubles for the Bears offense at that point, both first, second, and third down. And they're going to follow that plan until the Bears show the ability to overcome that. 29.2% of the runs so far have been run stuffs for negative yards. I think they only have 9 rushing first downs, and DeAndre Swift only has 1 rushing first down. If you want to incorporate that running game, that power running game that you're talking about, Kap, that I'm a big fan of as well, it is about going to what I say, making sure that you put the offensive lineman to have that pre-predicted position of success to help the running back get the most amount of yards. So if they get, 3 yards on first down, 4 yards on second down, whatever the case is, then you're talking about putting your offense in a makeable scenario in terms of that time of protection needed to provide a clean pocket for Caleb. I think if you're getting into unrealistic down and distances, now you're really stressing the length of the protection, the time needed for the receivers to get in a makeable first down position. It's not getting them beyond the first down marker, then making the completion. Can you throw it in an anticipated run after catch type of position? And so all the little things that they can do to help themselves the most can put their offense in a position to succeed. And if the defense keeps on playing as well as they're playing, then you may provide an extra series or 2 for yourself to go out and try to get the extra points you need.
So Tom and I did a charity volleyball tournament 2 weeks ago, Hoodie. We were at North Avenue Beach for Jules' 125th anniversary. We had a great time. The mayor came by. There was a bunch of people, raised money for a charitable cause, the whole deal. But I learned some things about Tom. Hoodie, you got to hear this. Tom Thayer does not own a clothes dryer.
You don't own a clothes dryer?
Now I have a line that I hang the clothes on outdoors.
Just because you live in Will County doesn't make you a hillbilly.
No, you know what happened? We had rain in the basement maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it ruined the dryer. So I took it out of the basement, and I never got it replaced.
And I said, I know the people at Apt. I said, I'll get you a dryer. And he goes, don't want one.
Tom, you're better than that. What kind of endomorphic human being are you? You're still, what are you in West Memphis, Arkansas? You can get yourself a damn dryer. You're Tom Thayer.
And in the winter, he hangs the clothes in the basement, right?
Yeah, my dad made a couple racks to hang down the basement. Listen, I come from a family that my mom and dad were depression era kids, and so it's live as cheaply as possible. When my mom passed away, I took like 36 bags of stored clothes out of the basement and brought them to Goodwill because my mom was that type of person. So and then my dad used to have the phrase, because my dad was a lineman for Commonwealth Edison for 46 years. And I also grew up in a house that we don't have air conditioning. And my dad used to say, look, I work at ComEd. I don't own it, so shut the fan off. So,
wow.
Yeah, just the way. Listen, man, I love my mom and dad and the way we were raised, but it's they put some of those ideas in our head as well.
Tom, times change.
He has no cable.
Tom, is that right? You don't have cable?
Yeah. Well, I don't have all the channels that you guys talk about when you talk about all the
shows.
Like everybody says, hey, have you been watching this on this cable deal that you have to have? And I don't have any of those. So I don't watch
like CBS 2. You don't have that. You didn't have that?
Is there a CBS 2? Is there really?
Yes.
Oh man, I did not know that.
Tom, come on.
I did not know. I swear to God, I did not know that.
How about this hoodie? He has 0 social media.
I believe that.
I said, don't you want to follow like Schefter? He's like, no, I'll find out.
Yeah, that's right. He's got Joniak for that. He doesn't need social media. Jeff will tell him.
Oh man, Kap, you're throwing me under the bus.
Oh,
I thought it was a private conversation.
It was so
never
great.
is.
I came home. I told my wife. She's like, "That's a man after my own heart. Simple life. He loves football, and he's just a good guy."
Oh, you're awesome.
I just want you to understand, Tom. I mean, Tom, you're on a lot of different TV channels, and you don't even get them.
No, I don't. Like I said, Jay Hood, I honestly didn't. I don't know if you're telling me the truth or pulling my leg about CBS 2. I did not know that. So
Channel 2, like you grew up with Channel 2.
I thought you meant there's like another CBS channel,
like a second.
No.
Listen, so we all 257 9
yeah.
32 44 26 and channel 11.
That was it. That's what we grew up on.
Sunday morning professional wrestling.
Yes.
Gilligan's Island at 3:30 after school.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
We're the same age. What was the main sponsor of the wrestling on Sunday morning?
What was it? That car? Was it the
car place?
The singing Ford man?
That's Harry Schmerler.
Yeah.
No, it was Ben's Auto Sales.
Okay, Ben's Auto Sales.
Bend over backwards to make you a deal.
Well, I remember the Schmerler, the singing Ford man.
Harry Schmerler.
Rockabye your baby.
Yes.
I'm Harry Schmerler. Schmerler's on again.
And Moo and Oink. Yeah, that was it.
He had one stop.
You're the best, Tom. We love you.
You guys are awesome as well.
Tommy, do you remember your time taking on the Baltimore or Indianapolis Colts? Because there was a overtime loss against the Colts in Baltimore in '83. That was Mike Pagel was the quarterback for the Colts. I don't know if McMahon got knocked out, because I see McMahon and Vince Evans played in that game in '83. Looks like they both did.
Okay, I was finishing up my USFL time in that game, but I hear a lot of stories about it, because after they came in the locker room, Ditka was so mad that he was reaming the guys out, and he punched the equipment locker. And he said, all right, everybody say a prayer. Doctor, come to the training room with me, because he broke his hand, and the next week he had a cast on his hand.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Yeah.
After that loss against Baltimore, then you went on a run. Like the teams that you were on, Tom, you won over Indianapolis. In 85, 88, and 91.
Yeah, I think the 85 game, it was really, really crappy weather. And Dick had told us before the game, and he says, "Hey, you guys, I'm not going to throw the ball very much today, so we're going to run it the majority of the time." And I think we ended up running like the first 22 plays of the game.
Wow.
And we didn't win by very much, and the weather was awful, and we got yelled at for only winning by a small margin.
Yeah, I want to say it was like it's 16 nothing, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
December 8th, 1985, 17-10. That's what it was.
17-10. I know it wasn't a big score, and Ditka wasn't happy with us. And then what was our record at that point?
Your record at that point was 13-1.
Oh, 13-1.
After that game, yeah.
Okay.
And rushing yards, Chicago, 44 carries for 191.
Yeah, Peyton carried it 25 times, 111 yards. Matsui had 17. Calvin Thomas, I love Calvin Thomas.
Yeah, I love Cal.
Had 27. So yeah, that's a Mike Pagel against Jim McMahon game right there. Yeah. That was awesome times. Hey, yeah,
yes,
you ran a football a ton. That's true.
Yeah, we did.
God almighty.
Awesome. Hey, man, have a great day and a great trip down to Indy, and I hope you like the shrimp cocktail at St. Omo's.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
See you, boys.
See ya.